Stop counting the days lost in the rhythm.
So, here's the deal. India has made its first ever payment in rupees for crude oil bought from the UAE. This is a big step for India, the world's third largest energy consumer, as it's trying to take its local currency global. They're also looking to make similar deals with other suppliers. But officials are quick to point out that this is a process and there are no set targets. India relies heavily on imports for its oil needs, with over 85% coming from abroad. So, they've been following a three-part strategy: buying from the cheapest source, diversifying their supply sources, and making sure not to break any international rules, like the price cap for Russian oil. This strategy has saved India billions of dollars, especially when they increased imports of Russian oil that some Western countries were avoiding after the Ukraine war. Now, India is trying to settle trades in rupees instead of dollars to cut down on transaction costs by getting rid of dollar conversions. Back in July, India signed a deal with the UAE to settle payments in rupees. Shortly after, the Indian Oil Corporation (IOC) paid for 1 million barrels of crude oil from the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company (ADNOC) in Indian rupees. Some Russian oil imports have also been settled in rupees. For a long time, the default payment currency for crude oil imports has been the US dollar. It's a currency that's easy to get hold of and has lower hedging costs. But, to give the rupee a bigger role in cross-border payments, the Reserve Bank of India has allowed more than a dozen banks to settle trades in rupees with 18 countries since last year. Since then, India has been encouraging big oil exporters like the UAE and Saudi Arabia to accept the Indian currency for trade settlements. The first success came in August this year when the IOC made a rupee payment to ADNOC. Officials say more deals like this could happen in the future, but they stress that there's no set target as this is a process that can't happen overnight. One official pointed out that they have to be careful that settling trades in rupees doesn't increase costs or harm trade. They said that it's not a big issue when the trade amount is small, but when each shipload of crude oil costs millions of dollars, there can be problems. They said India is navigating this situation with the country's best interests in mind. The internationalization of the rupee could help reduce the demand for dollars and make the Indian economy less vulnerable to global currency shocks. However, a parliamentary report presented last week stated that there weren't many takers for the Indian rupee. Officials said this was true for the 2022-23 fiscal year, but there has been a rupee trade this year. The report also highlighted concerns from crude oil suppliers about the repatriation of funds in their preferred currency and the high transaction costs and exchange fluctuation risks associated with converting funds. The Indian Oil Corporation (IOC) has also reported high transaction costs as crude oil suppliers pass on the additional transactional costs to them.